iron and ambition, where stars were drowned by smog and dreams were often paved over in concrete, Cale lived quietly, tucked behind rusted shutters and humming machines. By day, he was a mechanic in the industrial Belta labyrinth of metal skeletons and echoing gears. The world knew him as efficient, strong, silent. But under that skin of grease and grit, Cale was a dreamer. Not of riches or status, but of stars. Every night, after the city's roar faded into a mechanical lullaby, Cale would climb to the top of his workshop, lie flat on the warm steel roof, and stare into the sky. Though the stars were faint behind the city's light, he could still see them, tiny flickers of freedom, far from the clamor of cables and steel beams. He imagined galaxies he'd never touch, worlds he'd never name. He wasn't built for the stars. His lighted and welded into place. Then she fell from the sky. Not like a meteor, not like a dream, like a crashing starship tearing through the clouds, trailing fire and smoke. The city didn't notice. Just another failed satellite, they said. But Cale noticed. He traced the smoke trail beyond the edge of the belt, into the silent zone, a stretch of abandoned factories and forgotten technology. Amid the rubble and crackling sparks, he found her. Unconscious, half buried under a fractured shuttle wing, her suit torn, helmet cracked, blood trickling down her temple. She looked like stardust personified. He carried her back to his workshop, cleaned her wounds with gentle hands, and watched her chest rise and fall like tides pulled by some cosmic rhythm. Days passed before she opened her eyes. Her name was Lyra. She was a stardust scientist, she said, tasked with mapping the quantum fields between galaxies, searching for echoes of the beginning. Her mission had gone wrong. Navigation failure. System breach. Shed crashed on the edge of nowhere. Cale expected panic, but she only blinked, looked around his cluttered workshop, and whispered, "It smells like warm iron and lightning. I like it." He chuckled. It was the first sound of joy his voice had known in months. Lyra was unlike anyone Cale had ever met. She spoke in theories and metaphors, described black holes like lullabies, and constellations like lost siblings. She moved like she belonged to another gravity. Her eyes never stopped moving, like she was seeing more than the rest of them. More than him. And yet, she stayed. While her body healed and her tech recharged, Lyra became part of Cale's world. She helped repair engines, painted galaxies on the workshop walls, and named the stray cat that wandered in each evening quark. She asked questions about Kyle, his machines, his dreams, and listened like his words were the rarest stardust in the universe. He, in turn, watched her in awe. Her laughter cracked through the stillness of his days. Her presence softened the rigid metallic beat of his heart. And slowly, steel began to melt. They spent nights on the rooftop, Lyra pointing out stars, Cale inventing stories for each one. She taught him the science. He gave her the wonder, ability. But she left the next morning. The shuttle came quietly, No grand farewell, just a nod, a smile, a final touch of fingers, and she was gone. The city kept turning, machines kept spinning, but Kyle had changed. He didn't go back to being just a mechanic. He became a builder of dreams. He didn't go back to being just a mechanic. He became a builder of dreams. He built a telescope from scrap lenses and alloy frames. He mapped the sky with the precision of a man tracing a lover's skin. He crafted small metal rockets and hid messages inside notes he could never send, sealed in hope and memory. Every week he launched one into the air with a makeshift pressurized slingshot. They barely reached the clouds, but he launched them anyway, just in case. Years passed. People came and went. The world kept moving, and Kyle aged, not old, but older. His hair grayed at the temples. His hands trembled when he soldered fine wires. Still, he waited. Still, he looked up. Until one night, the sky opened again, not with fire, but with light. A sleek craft descended outside his workshop, small, precise, designed for one passenger. Kyle stepped out, unsure if he was dreaming. The hatch opened with a hiss, and there she was. Her hair was longer, her suit was newer, but her eyes were the same. Bright, wild, home. "You found me," he said. She held up a tiny metal rocket, worn and dented, pulled from her pocket. "You sent me the map. I didn't think they'd make it past the clouds." "They didn't," she smiled, "but I followed the signal, every one of them, and when I was finally free to choose where to go, she stepped forward, closer. Her voice trembled like the stars overhead. I chose you." And Kyle, who had lived 1,000 lifetimes in silence, finally let go. The steel in his chest beat like stardust again. Together, under the quiet sky, they began again, not in orbit, not in escape, but here, on the edge of the galaxy and the ground, where stars fall.